Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
Elsewhere, let's talk about this. The Space Foundation out with its latest quarterly report showing global commercial revenue jumping 8% from a year ago to $613 billion. The leading driver, the private sector, which accounts for 78% of the space economy. Government budgets making up the smallest portion of just over $130 billion. Potential catalysts for growth include President Trump's Golden Dome, Elon Musk's Starlink, and commercial spaceflight. Joining us now to discuss is Heather Pringle, the CEO of the Space Foundation. Heather, welcome to the program. Lots to work through here, but the numbers that jump out to me are the 78% coming from private enterprise. Do you see the private sector doing much of the heavy lifting of the space economy for the years forward and the foreseeable future?
Absolutely. The commercial sector is right now valued at $480 billion for 2024, and that is an 8% growth over the prior year. And when we look at the 12 sectors that constitute the commercial market, we look at position, navigation, and timing, which comprises $231 billion. The number 2 service just behind that is ground infrastructure and equipment, coming in at $123 billion. Both of these subsectors showed a 10% growth over the prior year. So with something like position, navigation, and timing, this is coming into every swipe, tap, and left turn that you make using those global navigation satellite services.
Heather, I'm struck by the fact that, yes, the private sector is the one that's leading the charge into space exploration and space use and the space economy, and yet there's a huge national security component to this, with the likes of China and Russia trying to exploit this whole network, possibly disrupting the United States. Based on your research with the Air Force, your service with the military, I'm just wondering how prepared the United States is for that in terms of government coordination with the private sector.
Well, absolutely, the United States is the #1 investor in the global space economy, and this includes all sectors: commercial, civil government, as well as national security. Now, you were pointing out what the United States is doing on the national security side. $49 billion of investment into our national security enterprise. Over 90% of that is going to the newest service, that is the United States Space Force. This is well ahead of what we see. China is investing, for example, on the civil government side. The United States is investing $27 billion in the civil government space economy. China's investing 17%, so we're well ahead on that. You can also look at the launch record. For example, the first 6 months of 2025, the United States is launching at a record 97 already launches these first 6 months. China is only a fraction of that, well under 20. So the United States is leading, it's leaning forward, and it's doing a lot to prepare for this. You mentioned Golden Dome as well. This is a huge initiative valued at $175 billion for the entire development effort. It's going to have a large commercial component. They're looking at short timelines. They want capability, whether it's everything from sensing to tracking to intercepting, and the commercial space market is really ready to deliver.
Well, the Golden Dome just locked in $13 billion. They named someone to be a project leader, but this morning, Reuters is reporting that Trump is looking for alternatives to Musk's SpaceX to lead that project. What companies in the private sector could lead that project in your view?
Well, Golden Dome is going to be a national security project led by the recently confirmed 4-star General Mike Gutlein. He'll be here with us today at our program. But to your point about who are the commercial entities who can step up to the plate, there are a number of companies that are leaning forward, delivering capability. This is a multi-layered capability when you look at the totality of what Golden Dome is. It's launch, it's sensing, it's tracking, it's intercepting. And so even if you did take a deeper look at the launch enterprise, there are over 14 companies around the world who can deliver that, 10 different nations. So it's a whole of nation effort. effort, and there are a lot of companies who are able and willing to step up to the plate.
I guess what you're saying is if it's not going to be SpaceX, there will be a company that can fill that role. Do you have a timeline of how long this project can take?
Well, I would say there have to be a number of companies, whether it's SpaceX or others, who need to contribute to this project. The scope of it is so large that it really is going to take a number of companies delivering these different capabilities. As far as the timeline, we are looking at, the president has announced that it should be on a 3-year timeline. So that's looking for capabilities that are out there, that are fairly mature, that are tried and true and existing. So that's what it'll depend on.
These numbers are getting bigger and bigger. Looking forward to tracking this story with you once again. The Space Foundation CEO, Heather Pringle, there on the size of the space economy.
I love the space economy discussions. I've got to say, I love the idea of what can happen there, whether we're all entering sort of an Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda world. I mean, honestly, all of the science fiction coming to reality, and how that is a serious threat when it comes to international warfare.
I prefer it when you talk about the bond market.